Hi there, Dan from onlinebasscourses.com. Hope you're doing really well. In this video, I'm going to show you some ideas that you can use to really tighten up your groove and work on your timing. This video is all about rhythms and how they're organized. And once you can intellectualize that and start to memorize and play around with a few of these rhythms, you internalize it and then you'll be able to make all kinds of bass grooves up. So let's start really at the beginning, which is just rhythms. And what they are, there's a few simple rhythms that I think you should learn, and the first one is a quarter note. So these are beats, every single one represents a quarter note. Don't forget that you've got different tempos in music represented by BPM, beats per minute, so you can go really fast or really slow. But I'm going to pick this tempo. We've got quarter notes. Da, 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 da. Now get used, right at the beginning, start to tap your foot. You want to be able to play, nod your head, tap your foot, move around. You want to be able to feel these beats because we're going to measure a lot of other beats from this. So we can just take, 5th fret A, octave high, which is 2 frets across, 2 strings down. Not working with a metronome, although I've got one. I'm going to show you a few things with that later, but just get used to that. Next we have 8th notes, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's how you can count them. There are 2 of them in every single quarter note. Da, 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 da. Notice, by the way, when you tap your foot and it comes up, 1 and 2 and 3, it's doing the upbeats. They're called upbeats or offbeats. So you can play them quite short or long. Whatever you do, keep them nice and even in terms of volume, but also not getting too quick or slowing down. So just let's try and work on the internal clock, just us on our own. Now, as long as you're counting, you don't even have to be counting 1, and you've just got to realize that every time your foot taps, you've got 2 of these 8th notes. You've probably got this rhythm. But now start to add some random things in. So leave some gaps, they're called rests. Only play upbeats. Those are quite difficult to feel. They're the ones where your foot comes up or just after the beats. When you have bass lines that are played off the beat like that, they're said to be syncopated. Syncopated rhythms are when you're not really playing on the beat. They sound really good. They've got really an exciting feel to it. So syncopation is something you want to be aware of. Next we have 16th notes. So in every single quarter note, every single beat, we now have 4. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a is one way of counting it. Or just knowing that every time your foot taps, you've got tick, 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 tick. I really like 16th note rhythms. They're used a lot in funk, which is a style I love. And if you like that kind of music, then 16th notes are something that you need to learn. So you've got your beats, and you just have to be aware. You just have to develop the feel of 4 going past all the time. Tick, 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 tick. And you can just play, you get really syncopated here. So there is 4 16th notes. Not the most exciting thing to do, but just learn. I'm just playing an A on the 5th fret of the E string. Just play those as consistently as you can, not speeding up, not slowing down. Then miss out the first, so that every time your foot taps, miss that one out. What about missing out the last of the da-da-da-da of the 4? You get that rhythm. What about missing out the second? I'm doing them instantly because I know in my head this rhythm. But you might want to just slow it down and go, okay, there are 4. It's a bit maths, but easy maths. you've got 4 in a beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Got to miss out the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Da, 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 da. When I was younger and having to learn this, that was what I was talking about before, about the intellectual part of this. I would have to slow down and stop and go, okay, da, 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 da. And then just work that until you've internalized that rhythm. Obviously, you can see that 16th note rhythms are a little trickier than just playing 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you want to do. You want to build layers of complexity onto this as you go. Let me show you another couple of rhythms that are really important that you should know. By the way, there are 32nd notes, 64th notes, 16th note, all kinds of other rhythms that we're not going to get into today, but triplets are important. You've got your beats, and triplets are where you've got 3 in every single beat. So da, 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 da. Just so you know, I'm playing around with the 5th fret of the E string, 2 frets across, 2 strings down is the octave, 2 frets lower than that is the minor 7th, and 7th fret of the A string is the 5th. Some good notes to mess around with. So, triplets. All we're doing here, when we're doing 16th notes in every one of these, we're subdividing the beats. So these are the beats. Subdivide them into 8ths. 1 and 2 and 16ths. Triplets. And this is called subdividing the beats. And that really is a major thing that is going to make you learn these rhythms really well, but be able to command them a bit better is to know how to subdivide into these different elements. Then when you want to go on to the more complex things, it's just a matter of subdividing in a slightly different way. So I would go through these ones first. Triplets. If you play the first 2 together and then the third one, tie the first 2 together, you get. So it's again 1, 2, 3. You're going 1, 3, 1, 3. Start to get into blues shuffle and jazz swing kind of ideas. So those are the really important rhythms to get down. The way rhythmic patterns are organized together is referred to as meter, and time signatures are the currency of rhythms. We need to understand what those are. So let's go through a few now. Top number tells you how many beats in a bar. The bottom number tells you what type of beats. Those are the ones we've gone through, you know, the quarter notes, the 8th notes, the 16th notes. So 4/4. Top number is 4 beats and the bottom number is quarter notes. 4 quarter note beats in a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we just stick to this same tempo, we know that we've got 8, 16, and the way that these rhythms are subdivided will dictate, you know, what type of music you're listening to. You know, a sort of Blink 182, Green Day type thing. Speed up a bit. Let's speed up for that. So now, 8th notes are da 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 da. That's the kind of feel that a lot of that music plays around with, you know, funk. Gone back down to that tempo. It's more 16th note based. What about, yeah. Brings me on to another rhythm actually that I didn't talk about, which is a dotted rhythm. If you add a dot next to a quarter note or any note, the dot tells you to add half the note's value on. So a quarter note is 1 beat, half of 1 is half, add that on, you get 1.5 beats. And the way or 3/8 notes, same thing. And if you think about it in the 3/8 notes way, if you in your head can subdivide into 8th notes, so we got da, 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 those are 8th notes. I know that a dotted quarter note is 3 of those things. So dun, ba, ba, da, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can subdivide the bar and the beats and work out these rhythms really easily as long as you have your grid, you know, your foot tapping and your underlying knowledge of those are the 8th notes, those are the 16th notes. I think that's the real basics. Tap your foot on every beat, know how to subdivide into 8th notes and then 16th notes, and you can layer rhythms on that grid. Another time signature, 3/4. Top number tells you how many notes in a bar, so 3. The bottom number tells you what type. 3 quarter note beats in a bar. So this time, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We've got a sort of waltz feel now. Really going to 6/4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. That's going round in a block of 6. So 3/4, 6/4, very similar. Artists like Steve Vai will use time signatures like 5/16, and we're going a bit complex here, but the top number tells you that there are 5 beats in a bar, and the bottom number tells you what type of beat. 5/16th note beats in a bar. Let's play around with this, why not? So you remember that 16th notes are 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5/16 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, you can organize it into a 3 and a 2. This is all maths. It's all relatively simple maths. A 3 and a 2 make a 5. So as long as we're doing those 16th notes, 1. One, two, three, you know, this is getting a bit too complex, but if you understand the top number tells you how many beats, the bottom number tells you the type of beats, and if you're into progressive rock and that sort of music, then you might start to think about rhythms in that way. Now, we haven't played to any kind of metronome or drum loop, and I like playing to both of those just to I think it really can work on your groove. Also, I do a lot of recording where I play to a click, and being able to do that, you do find yourself sharpening up your groove. So yeah, record yourself playing, and that will do it. And if you listen back, you can hear if you have a tendency to rush or a tendency to fall a bit behind. When you get really good at this, you can actually manipulate that and play a bit ahead of the beat if you want to get a really exciting kind of forward motion feel, or you can relax a bit behind the beat sort of for a reggae thing. You can control that the more you master this. But I got sent this by a company called Legato. They got in touch and said, you know, do you want to try some of the gear? And they had quite a lot of really cool stuff, but this is the thing I wanted, because I'll often just play on this armchair with no cable plugged in at all, just have a metronome there, and I'll be working on my time that way. And there's lots of different things you can do. I'll put a link to that metronome in the link below, because it's really cheap and it's a really good thing to have for practice. It's a tuner as well. And I want to show you a few little things that you can do now with a metronome. I do have a video that goes into more depth, 7 metronome exercises that aims to put the metronome onto different beats and then also take away a lot of the rhythmic information. So you're left with fewer beats and more of the emphasis is on your inner clock to keep yourself in time. So do check that video out. So when I play with this, you're going to hear the microphone just above my head and the internal bass I've got going through Logic, so it's going to sound a bit odd. So that's where your foot should be tapping, okay? This has also got a function where you can just press. There it's doing the 8th notes. There are your triplets. There are your 16th notes. So that was 100 beats per minute. Now I've halved it to 50, and I'm going to be feeling the clicks that you're going to hear on beats 2 and 4. So listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fewer clicks, more onus on me to fill in the gaps with my timing. Rhythms and groove is a very, very important area to really try and master. So I'd stick with these rhythms for now. Just build these up, and you want to get to a point where you can just manipulate these rhythms any way you want. And when you can do that, you know that you're really internalized. You've really internalized those rhythms. Then you can learn more complicated rhythms, odd time signatures like 5/4, 7/8, things like that will become easier because you know that 8th notes are go like da, 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 and you know, you can count 7 of those, you can do 4 and a 3. You start to be able to hear and feel these things much easier. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you got something from that. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.